A member of the class of 1966, the university's first baccalaureate class, and the university's first African American graduate, Francine contributed a lifetime of service to Asheville and the surrounding community in support of childhood education. This award recognizes one alumnus or alumna for exemplary service to their community, state, or nation. Amara is a 2012 graduate of UNC Asheville with a degree in mass communications and a concentration in journalism. As a student, she completed undergraduate research on prison reformation, was an editor for the student newspaper The Blue Banner, and was founder and president of the Muslim Student Association, which won the Outstanding Student Organization of the Year in 2012. She also won the Carolyn Briggs Diversity Award for her work with the Muslim Student Association. After graduation, she worked within the National Forest Service unit for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. She also interned at National Public Radio's The Race Card Project before becoming a production assistant for NPR's Morning Edition, Tell Me More with Michelle Martin, and Weekend All Things Considered. In between her production roles, she produced a podcast that highlighted former representatives of the U.S. Congress and Senate called Decode DC at Scripps News. Currently, she is the founder and executive director of Welcome Home, a grassroots refugee relief organization based in Charlotte. Most recently, Amara volunteered as a panelist for an on-campus program on diversity and campus involvement. She is a first-generation Pakistani American.
Hi, my name is Amara, and I am a recipient of the Francine M. Delaney Alumni Award for service to the community. I am very honored. I am very humbled to be even recognized with such giants as Miss Francine herself, and all the recipients who have come before me. Definitely don't think I'm up to par for such recognition. But I am very, very humbled to be recognized and acknowledged in this community service work. Today I serve as an executive director / founder of a nonprofit in Charlotte, North Carolina called Welcome Home. We help with resettlement of refugees that come in the area. So we help them and we provide them basic necessities and different kind of resources that can help with being successful in their community, in their society, for their families. And that's one big thing that I really advocate on, is to help bridging the gap when it comes to resources. And that was really cultivated at my time at UNC Asheville. I was a minority. I was somebody with diverse opinions, diverse thoughts, diverse planning, and I found folks that would listen to me. And that was probably the biggest opening anyone can ever have in trying to achieve anything, is to find the people that will hear you out, but then also help you cultivate your planning, give you those resources. You can have all the ideas in the world, but if you are saying them into thin air, it's not going to get cultivated. And I was very lucky to come across different people at UNC Asheville who were bigwigs, who were very important in decision making, and who always would invite me to the table, who wanted to know my thoughts genuinely. To name a few: Bill Haggard, Deborah Miles, Robert Straub, who really pushed and encouraged my thinking and really cultivated that leadership skill in me, which it sounds so funny to even say that I have a leadership skill, but that was because before I could believe in myself and have a shaky voice in doing so, I had other folks that would say, hey, even with your shaky voice, say what you need to say. Even with not feeling so confident in something, do what you need to do. And I think that encouragement is really what helped me shape the rest of the trajectory of my career, the trajectory of the spaces that I'm in now, is just having that encouragement and really just being able to take on the resources that were available. And if there's one thing that I think that I do right, or am able to do in terms of helping someone out is always hooking them up with those resources, because I know, as someone who, I am first generation American, but I am well aware of the language, the culture, and how things work around here. So I can kind of understand how these resources work in a way. But people who don't know that these resources exist, that is something that drives me every day. I'm just somebody who looks at resources and gives them to people. Hey, this exists. I didn't make it. I didn't create it, but I know that this is something you can use. And so much of that was done for me at such an early start in my college days, in my time where I'm trying to find what my purpose is, and I'm still trying to find that. But at the really raw moments of understanding, why are you doing what you're doing and for what? UNC Asheville was a space that really helped honor that for me before I even knew what it could mean. And I'm very grateful to have those experiences. I'm very grateful to have those connections. And I'm very, very grateful for the people who helped me understand that it is community over competition any day. It is not something that this is something I have that someone else doesn't know. It is always community over competition. And I am very grateful for those experiences, very grateful to have learned that lesson early on and to help shape, my different career paths. I started as a journalist, I worked in journalism, and then slowly found my way in community service work. So, UNC Asheville kind of planted the advocacy in me that I didn't know existed. So I'm always grateful for that, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity now to talk to you a little bit about my experience, and really just definitely overwhelmed with such recognition.
As the son of the university's founder and a graduate of the class of 1937, Thomas D. Reynolds spent 60 years as one of the university's strongest promoters and most active volunteers. This award recognizes one alumnus or alumna each year for exemplary service to the University of North Carolina at Asheville. Tiffany is a member of UNCA's Foundation Board and has previously served on the Chancellor's Search Committee, and for 6 years as a member of the Alumni Board. For 2 years, Tiffany served as the Alumni Board Chair and spearheaded the board's work to endow a scholarship to support current students. Also, during her time as chair, her peers credit her for bringing a high level of professionalism and elevating the stature of this leadership board. Tiffany is a 1999 graduate of UNCA with a degree in environmental science. She went on to earn her MPA with a concentration in nonprofit management from NC State and is a CFRE. She has spent most of her career in healthcare fundraising, including time at the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation, and most recently at the College Diabetes Network as the Chief Development Officer. Tiffany's late husband, Michael, was also a UNCA graduate, and after his death in 2019, she started the Michael Armstrong Memorial Scholarship in his memory. Tiffany and her son Fisher have both visited with the first scholarship recipient and look forward to meeting others who are awarded in the future.
I'm incredibly honored to receive the Thomas D. Reynolds Alumni Award for Service to the university. What was especially meaningful to me is the connection to service, because that's really very deeply rooted in my career path. It was at UNCA that my heart for advocacy and nonprofit work became evident. My senior year, I had an internship with the Clean Water Fund, and after I graduated, I started as a fundraiser, providing for programming and research for those battling blood cancer. And then I moved into an executive role with organizations that supported children with brain tumors, and later an organization helping young adults with type 1 diabetes. I'm now consulting with nonprofits in North and South Carolina, which I really enjoy. To support this advancement, I obtained several certifications in the field, and I have a master's degree in nonprofit management. And I feel like that was really stemmed a lot from the encouragement and support that I got from UNCA in the classroom to pursue those academic certifications. But I think my heart for advocacy and community impact is tied directly to what I learned outside of the classroom. The opportunities I had to serve on the campus commission and allocate money to student organizations so that they can advance their missions. And the opportunity to engage with the community on behalf of the Chancellor's Installation Committee. And the opportunity to go to Raleigh and advocate for funding for what is now this really amazing student center on campus. I even worked with a couple of other students to have a used bookstore in Highsmith so that we could offer textbooks at a more affordable rate for the students on campus. And I think those opportunities that were provided to me and the encouragement that was poured into me has allowed me to serve others throughout the years in my career. So giving back to UNCA is easy and incredibly rewarding, and I have a lot of fun. So thank you so much for this recognition, not necessarily anything that I would ever expect from the university, but is much appreciated, and thank you for the invitation to be a part of the virtual celebration this year. Thanks. Go Bulldogs.